Welcome back to the management sessions. Today we are going to focus on the contingency theory and approach to management. Now, in the contingency theory, we have a very important part that is a systems approach. Now, what is a system? System encompasses everything which is there in the business. It includes culture, technology, government, economy, demography, and geography. Contingency approach to management. Now, the first thing is to understand the theory itself. What is contingency? The contingency approach to management is based on the idea that there is no single best way to manage. In simple terms, you can't say that this is the best way of doing things. It can be better than that according to that theory. So you cannot be very sure. In this theory, it is basically focusing that effective management must tailor their planning, organizing, leading, and controlling to their particular circumstances. Because contingency approach to management advocates that managerial roles, actions, and organizational design must be appropriate to give situation, and a particular action is valid only under certain circumstances and conditions. There is no one best way to management, and all its decisions on situations. In other words, managerial action is contingent upon external environment. There is no one single best way of doing things. What a manager does depend, gives a given situation. Is there an active interrelationship between variables in a situation and the managerial action? Contingency theory basically attempts to analyze and understand these interrelationship with a view towards specific managerial action necessary to deal with the issue. What are the features or the characteristics that you'll find in a contingency approach? It basically is externally situational. Management is externally situational. The conditions of situation will determine which technique and control system should be designed to fit in a particular system. Management is entirely situational according to the contingency approach. There is no one best way of doing things, and one needs to adapt himself to the circumstances. It is the kind of, if a situation arises, then what will be the approach to solve or reduce that problem? It is practically suited, it is more pragmatic in nature. Management policies and procedures should respond to the environment. Managers should understand that there is no one best way of managing. It dispels the universal validity of principles. The advantages and disadvantages of the contingency theory. The primary advantages of contingency theory are that it provides you a realistic approach towards management and the organization. It discards the universal validity of principle, that these principles are going to be universally acceptable and they will help you in reducing the problems. Managers are situational oriented and not stereotyped. Lend itself to an innovative and creative management style. On the flip side, the negative role says that it does not have a theoretical base. You don't have a theory for proving the contingency theory or the approach. Executive is expected to know all the alternatives, courses of action before taking a decision or situation or dealing with a situation, and which is not feasible. It does not prescribe a course of action, and a situation can be influenced by many factors or can be influenced or basically are going to be determined by various factors. Now, when it comes to the situations approach or the systems approach, there is a very clear cut diagram to help you and understand this particular concept. That is, in the management process, we have an input where we are going to induct things which are going through a process, and then finally a final product is out. So therefore, it is input, out process, and then the output, the outcome of the thing. Systems approach is a management perspective that advocates that any business principle or a problem should be seen as a system as a whole, is made up of hierarchies of subsystems. Therefore, it defines a system as a whole, but it keeps focus on subsystems and components as well as their roles on the entire organization. A system is a set of interconnected elements or component parts to achieve certain goals, where an organization is viewed as a modern authors as an open system, and the system when it is open, so it has to adapt, incorporate things which are there in an organization. And the five basic part of an organization includes the input, the process, the output, feedback, and definitely the environment. Systems approach to management provides a conceptual view or a basis for the guidelines for establishing a more efficient way of planning, organization, direction, and control, because it forces the managers to look upon his business in an open, adaptive manner, because you are going to take certain decisions which you have not thought of, and it is basically because of the situation that you are in, so it has to be adaptive in nature. Information is an important part of the system because an organization must act and interact with its environment. Basically, systems are of two types: closed and open. A closed system where no interaction with the outside world is made, an open system where continually you are interacting with the environment. All living systems are open system. Now, this is what we have discussed, that organization as a system receives input, transforms it into a process which for output and operations in an environment which is basically going to be considering the economic, regulatory, and other forces in the organization. When it comes to defining the features of a systems approach, an organization is consisting of many subsystems, many parts. All the subsystems or parts are mutually related to each other, means the raw material for one, finished product for one is the raw material for the other one. The subparts should be studied in their interrelationship rather than an isolation from each other. The organization provides a boundary which separates it from other systems. It determines which part are internal and which part are external in nature. The organization is responsive to its environmental effects. It is vulnerable in the changes of the environment. An organization is a system of many interrelated and interdependent parts or subsystems. These elements are arranged orderly according to some change schemes such that there is no part which is more than some of that part. As a systems, an organization draws inputs, that is energy, information, material, etc., from its environment. It transforms these inputs and return the output back to the environment in the form of goods and services. Every system is a part of a super system. An organization is an open system and it interacts with its environment. It is also a dynamic system as the equilibrium in it is always changing. Management is expected to regulate and adjust the system to secure better performance. Management is a multidisciplinary as it draws and integrates knowledge from various disciplines.